Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Weekend Recap, where we bring you the good, the bad, and the latest inside news of what took place this week with Monday Night Raw, Mondays on USA, WWE NXT, Tuesdays on USA Network, AEW Dynamite, Wednesdays on TNT, Impact Wrestling, Thursdays on Access TV, Friday Night SmackDown, Fridays on Fox. And of course, Saturdays, you can only watch everything here recap wise, where you get our honest opinion here on this platform on the Ace Mon Armageddon channel. And before we begin, we want to mention our infamous disclaimer, and that is everything that we state and say, it is strictly our opinion and it does not necessarily reflect the views of the platform that we're on or the wrestling companies that we talk about. And now, don't have a cow, man. It is Rebellion Week for Impact Wrestling. It will take place tomorrow night. And as I mentioned before, originally it was going to be set for tonight. But with the whole landscape of professional wrestling / sports entertainment has been changing as of late, Impact Wrestling decided to make Rebellion for tomorrow night, April 25th. And it's going to be live on pay-per-view here in the US, and outside internationally, it will be seen on Fight TV. So I did mention that it was going to be on Impact Plus. I stand corrected. Let me repeat this one more time. AEW World Champion Kenny Omega will face off against Impact World Champion Rich Swann, title versus title. It will be seen on Impact Wrestling's Rebellion pay-per-view. It'll be seen on pay-per-view. So I suggest you make the order now and don't miss out. Here in the US and, of course, international-wise, it'll be seen on Fight TV. It will not be seen on Impact Plus. And while we're at it, since this switch has been made, or I didn't pay heavily attention to it, I think we should definitely do a live reaction tomorrow night as far as Impact is concerned, because Swann and Omega, it's a huge deal. The way that they've been hyping it up, the way they've been making this match a huge deal, because this has never been done before, or maybe it has in another lifetime, in another generation, but in this one as we speak, it has obviously never been done. So I feel this is a match of massive proportions. This could change the face of both companies to see who is going to walk out with all of the gold in that main event. And I feel that this one should be a can't miss event for sure. So here at the Ace Mon Armageddon channel, the Wrestling Weekend Recap team is going to do a live reaction tomorrow night for Rebellion. You are free to join us if you want to hear us give our opinion and rundown of what we see in front of our screen. Of course, our setup is in the room of always where we normally would be seen for live reactions wise. And we can't wait until tomorrow night. But nonetheless, we're going to start with some latest inside news. And we're going to start with something that I'm kind of disappointed that the wrestling tabloids and even the two sources that we follow never caught up to this one. But maybe because this individual has been a part of pro wrestling back during the Monday Night Wars. This individual was a former Chicago Bears player, and I'm talking about, with no offense, because I know you follow the Bears, but the Bears that actually won a Super Bowl back in 1985. And the person that we're talking about is Steve Mongo McMichael. So I'm actually shocked to hear this news since this past Friday. And it turns out that Steve Mongo McMichael is dealing with a health issue. It turns out that he has, I believe it's called ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease. So here at the Wrestling Weekend Recap, we want to send our prayers to the McMichael family and Jade. Since you've been following the story, what else can you tell us what's going on recently with the former Super Bowl champ, part of the Bears back in 1985, and former WCW wrestler and a member of the Four Horsemen, Steve Mongo McMichael?
What I understand is that the McMichael family has difficulty trying to keep up with his medical expenses. So right now they created a GoFundMe page, and I just want to point out that his GoFundMe has reached the amount of money that they reached is approximately about $112,176. So hopefully it's a good sign for Mongo. And I just want to point out that one of those financial contributors is linked to the industry of sports entertainment. It happens to be none other than late champion Chris Jericho, who has contributed approximately over, I would say close to $2,500 for Mongo McMichael, since obviously there's history, and among others who not others from sports entertainment, from most from football from here from the Chicagoland area, who want to make sure that this legendary player of the Bears and a former member of the Horsemen, his life gets extended a little bit more. And hopefully, for those of you people that are watching right now, who if you're a sports entertainment enthusiast, if you follow the Four Horsemen, you go to, if you want to contribute to the health expenses for Mongo McMichael, go to GoFundMe, type in Team Mongo, and you'll get your if you make a contribution, you'll be rewarded, and you get your personal Team Mongo T-shirt. And of course, I just want to point out for everybody that watching right now, because like we mentioned, our hearts go out to Mongo McMichael and his family. And I'm pretty sure that if Ric Flair was watching, if Arn Anderson is watching, Dean Malenko is watching, J.J. Dillon, anybody else who Mongo had a history with, or his ex-wife Deborah, even if she's still around, still has a soft spot for him, like for me, and including those of you watching us right now. If you still have a heart for Mongo, if you want to contribute any possible way to, for the man to get his health expenses, or for him to get his treatment, please do so.
Jade, we appreciate you've been following on this story, and just like I said before, it's kind of disappointing that the wrestling world, especially with all the internet and news tabloids and even the two sources that we follow, didn't actually, found this to be reported. And I'm kind of disappointed, because normally when we talk about everything wrestling, we want to acknowledge it right up front. And we feel that this one's close to home because, I respect Mongo as an athlete that he was back in his day, whether it be a former Chicago Bears football player or even had his stint in pro wrestling. It speaks a lot about the man. But we here at the Wrestling Weekend Recap crew, we send our best wishes to him and to the McMichael family, and hopefully that he gets the treatment that he needs, and for him to live a little bit longer and to prosper as well. Best wishes. And as we move on, also another inside news that we want to talk about is what's been going on lately with inside of WWE and their crew, especially when the news broke out that on Twitter, supposedly Mickie James received her belongings in a trash bag. That's kind of odd, and that shouldn't be happening. And it turns out that this got Triple H got wind of this, and he responded that this situation was taken care of, and the person behind this whole ordeal was fired, and that was none other than former talent, the former head of talent relations, Mark Carrano. And we really don't know the motives why this happened, if it was some sort of a grudge, or if he got demoted or anything like that, because it turns out who's head of talent relations now as we speak, who took his spot, is none other than the man who used to be a pro wrestler, the character behind the People Power, none other than, yes, John Laurinaitis. Yes, John Laurinaitis is back in that position. But still, this situation seemed kind of odd. And of course, Mr. Carano ended up being fired for such a low act. And my God, I mean, that shouldn't even be happening. It shouldn't happen at all. I don't know why, but obviously the company was embarrassed, and they should be, because this isn't a way to handle a situation like that. And on top of that, Mickie James was released not that long ago, along with the other 11 former superstars that have been let go just recently. And this is not the way to handle a situation. I'm more embarrassed for them. But yeah, this is something that should have never been leaked out. But hey, anything can happen, and we hear wind of this. Another piece of inside news that's been going on is that Daniel Bryan's contract is coming up with WWE really soon. And with the way things have been going this past Friday night, it looks like we may see the last of this individual who people have been following for such a long time. And is this going to be the end for him, or are we going to see him go to Raw, or go to, I don't know about going to NXT, or is he going to venture somewhere else? Because it turns out that by latest reports, it's like, I guess after having to experience being a part of the triple threat of WrestleMania, it's like something for him has been missing. And obviously he's not feeling it anymore. What that could be, we don't know. Only Daniel Bryan knows what that element is that he's missing. And hopefully he can find it yet again. And if it's not with WWE, it could be somewhere else. But we're still going to stay on top of it, and we'll get into the details of what took place this Friday night in just a little bit. But as we begin, of course, we're going to talk about all the recaps that took place this entire week, and we are going to cover our opinion based on what's going to happen tomorrow night with Impact's pay-per-view known as Rebellion. But let's get started with what took place on Raw. Of course, the biggest headline of them all was none other than Charlotte Flair. And she had a rematch with Asuka going one-on-one. And, I'm seeing that they're really taking a toll to how Charlotte is being portrayed in this second, well, not even second, but this new repackaging of hers after not being seen at WrestleMania, and how she's being brought back in, saying that this is the one woman who has done it all for the women's division, and how she deserves respect. So we are going to take a look back at where we're going to take a listen to what happened in the match with her against Asuka, and pretty much check out what happened at the end, because what happened at the end, is it a surprise, or is it something that we all kind of expected to happen?
What has Charlotte Flair got to do here, Corey? This.
So we're seeing here that
Charlotte needs to rely on her power.
already Rhea Ripley, the Raw Women's Champion, is already by the on the path of the ramp, close to the ring.
Charlotte Flair, all the weeks of complaining. If she loses to Asuka, you're absolutely right, Byron. This is an instance if Charlotte Flair called her shot and delivers, that's why she's the queen. But if Charlotte Flair comes up short tonight, it could be catastrophic for her confidence. Oh, gosh, you got there by Charlotte. The slap hurt well the world. Oh, big delivery for the armbar. Charlotte Flair trying her best to defend it. Asuka cranking with everything she's got. Charlotte very wisely delivering sharp elbows to the temple. Really, the Asuka Asuka locked in. It's all over, but now Charlotte Flair. Figure four is in. Can Charlotte bridge? Can she maximize the pressure? Figure eight submission is in. Oh, hey, Ripley. That's not all right. She had a solid there, and now Charlotte is incensed. Charlotte's got every right to be incensed. Rhea Ripley's not participating in this matchup. You gotta believe, listen, Asuka taking advantage. It's over. Asuka pulls off the win. We gotta give the assist to Rhea Ripley. You're absolutely right, but this is Charlotte getting a taste of her own medicine from last week. Charlotte cost Rhea Ripley and Asuka a chance to have their match. Rhea Ripley did the same thing as Charlotte here today. So Rhea may see this as some sort of turnabout, or maybe the fact that Rhea Ripley's scared of Charlotte Flair. Rhea Ripley knows she defeated Asuka at WrestleMania, but maybe Rhea realizing she can't take the queen. I think Charlotte Flair is realizing if you run down the entire women's division, you won't pay for those comments. Come on, Charlotte. Come on, Charlotte. Wow. Charlotte Flair. That's going to be a fine. That's going to be a major fine for the queen. You do not put your hands on a WWE official. The queen has gone mad. The foot stomps. Oh, Charlotte. Whoa. This is ridiculous. Enough, Charlotte. I'm savage. Stop this. It's more official out here. Enough. Come on. Get off. Come on, get off of it. Stop. Get off of it. Come on. Take it out. Get out of here. Get out of here. What are you doing? Get out of here. Charlotte just stepped in a whole other stratosphere. This is beyond. Charlotte, what are you doing? Get out of here.
Well, it's painfully obvious that Rhea Ripley's hand in this match was to make sure that Charlotte didn't have a future shot at the Raw Women's Championship, which is going to bring her back by the bottom of the totem pole. And, of course, Asuka followed up to gain an advantage and defeated the Queen. But what happened at the very end was, if you're the typical viewer, you would find it really despicable. And, yeah, she took out all her frustrations out on the referee that officiated the match. And it's unfortunate that she had to it's unfortunate that he had to suffer the brunt of all of this at the hands of Charlotte Flair. So it didn't take long until the not so-called general manager, the WWE official Adam Pearce, made a final decision that was to suspend and fine Charlotte Flair for her actions. So she's suspended indefinitely. And I believe I mentioned that the fine was $100,000, and which it's going to hit her hard, and then, in her cute little purse. But my opinion, of course, this whole thing is a buildup. Obviously, this had to happen, to bring a lot more heat to the Queen. So I'm kind of expecting, once she does get back and realizes that she screwed up, or won't, or be her unapologetic self and won't admit that she screwed up, but obviously this is going to set up a what I would like to see is a triple threat match between Charlotte Flair, Asuka, and Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship, and it should happen at Backlash. Not WrestleMania's Backlash, but at Backlash. Thank you. And of course, one match that of course has been signed for Backlash is Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley rematch for the WWE Championship. And I believe there was another match that was signed, but hopefully we get to it as we still do this recap of sorts as well. So we are gonna definitely go over the card of what took place this past Monday on Raw, because that was like the top highlight of the entire show. So let's just point out that since we both watched it, Raw was just a tad bit better, but not what should be in the middle as better, because WWE Creative still has a lot of work to do to make that show a little bit better. There were some unexpected ones that we did not see coming. We'll say that. Okay, so it ended up being referee Eddie Orengo who got attacked by Charlotte Flair. And like I said, that man really took a brutal, brutal punishment. So hopefully he's doing well. So other things that took place, of course, Drew McIntyre wanted to get answers, and he wanted to get answers from MVP after having to suffer the brunt attack of Mason T-Bar the previous week. So we all know that MVP is lying through his ass. It's typical. Saying that he's got nothing to do with Mason T-Bar. I know that he hired both of them to take out Drew McIntyre because it's typical of what we've been seeing in the last number of weeks. So a 2-on-1 handicap match has been set up. Adam Pearce did not want to do that because, you know, what could be done to McIntyre, but McIntyre is one hell of a warrior. He'll take both of them on any night of the week, and which he did. And that match did took place. Drew McIntyre did have the long shot of keeping that fight for as long as he could, but Mason T-Bar, of course, with their 2-on-1 tactics, definitely took a lot out of the Scottish Warrior until Braun Strowman got involved, and it ended up being a tag match. And, you know, then the skills were balanced out, and we ended up seeing that Mason T-Bar got unmasked. What's the point of all of this? Hopefully to not call him T-Bar and Mace next week. Hopefully they go back to themselves, because if you're still going to call him T-Bar and Mace, or they're going to go back to their mask, then the creative team is going to do a pretty stupid move. And if Vince McMahon is going to allow that to happen after seeing the freaking script with it, I guess he'll be a bigger idiot too. But nonetheless, there's going to be a rematch this Monday night on Raw, and it will be once again Mason T-Bar will take on the team of Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre. Other things that have taken place on Raw, we've seen once again the Viking Raiders. They made an incredible return the previous week. They fought again against Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. Only this time, it wasn't much of the same from the previous week. We got to see that Alexander and Benjamin, they brought in a little bit of a strategy to try to take down Eric and not have to be close to Ivar to get counted in. But after everything that they have done to this guy, he was just too much to not be denied. And of course, you know, he absorbed everything that Benjamin and Alexander brought to him. But of course, with Ivar, you know, the Viking Raiders are just too much. They won again. Valiant effort yet again from Alexander and Benjamin. We've seen a backstage promo with Riddle pissing off Randy Orton yet again in his scooter. Of course, Charlotte Flair had a war of words with Asuka and the champ, Rhea Ripley. Now, the biggest shocker to me, and I understand it, Riddle had a match with Randy Orton, and to our surprise, Riddle won against the Viper. And this is a very good way to put Matt Riddle over. It really is. Hopefully this doesn't squash his momentum for the next few weeks to come. Otherwise, then all of this yap is just for nothing. But still, I found it really weird. Excuse me. I found it really weird that they're putting Matt Riddle over with Randy Orton at the helm, which is awesome to see. Naomi and Lana faced off against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. And it was an okay match. And we got to see that Naomi and Lana got the upper hand at the very end, and they defeated the women's tag team champions. Miz TV had their segment to celebrate the new episodes of Miz and Mrs. Miz and Maurice, of course, were celebrating very dearly. Damian Priest came in to crash the party, and unfortunately, Maurice just splashed that fine wine all over the Archer of Infamy. My goodness. Kofi Kingston had a singles match, Scorpion had a singles match against Elias. And another surprise, Elias defeated the former WWE champion and former tag team champion. Little Miss Bliss had her segment with Lily, that evil doll of hers. I kind of find it disturbing that, they brought out, pictures of Little Miss Bliss when she was a tiny girl, and they kind of photoshopped the doll in between them. And then at the very end, the freaking doll kind of spooked me out, and it already sent like freaking couple of beats skipping out of my heart. Freaking bastards. Backstage segment with Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, and pretty much Shayna's already pissed with Nia Jax, telling her that she should keep it together or otherwise there's going to be trouble. Of course, out of the Miz TV segment, we got to see a singles match with Damian Priest against The Miz. Damian Priest got his revenge and got the win over the former WWE champion. Sheamus wanted to make a mockery open challenge since finally he's been seen after becoming the new United States champion at WrestleMania. The man who answered the challenge was someone that we haven't seen in a while, and that was Humberto Carrillo. But all of that was done in vain, and Sheamus just proceeded to beat the hell out of Humberto Carrillo. My goodness. And yeah, that's pretty much what took place on Raw. So, like I mentioned, coming up for Raw this Monday, we will see a tag match with Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman as they take on T-Bar and Mace, another tag rematch. And finally, we will see the Almighty Champion returning to Monday Night Raw. We move on to NXT. NXT had a decent show. Here we thought it was going to be another great builder after coming off a successful Stand and Deliver. It was okay, especially how the show started out. We got to see the return of Kyle O'Reilly, coming back as really cool dude, non-caring, and, just wondering what's going to be next for him. And all of a sudden, Mr. Rich Billionaire Grimy, Cameron Grimes, showed up and just pretty much sweet-talked Kyle O'Reilly, saying, oh, man, we can do some good business together. We can do this and that, and, we'll make millions, trillions. And, of course, O'Reilly did not want nothing to do with any of that, which set up to the main event match between them two going against each other one-on-one. We got to see Dexter Lumis go up against LA Knight. And, of course, they were having a really decent match, a really good match. And all of a sudden, Indy Hartwell decides to come out and still go at it yet again. So I'm still kind of wondering, okay, is this thing for real? I mean, I know this is all storyline, but still, it's like, is this thing for real, or is this all part of the plot for the way to get Dexter Lumis distracted away from, for going after titles and, what he's all about? Is he showing some type of weakness over this chick? And they were just having that eye contact that, nobody can ever understand. But if a person who actually fell in love and only can do that with such a stare between these two individuals, like, okay, is there communication between there? Is there some sort of a sign, positive one, negative one? But it's like they don't need to say words. They actually can talk with their eyes. And that's what some people don't understand. And even people that have reviewed NXT, from what I see on one of my two sources, still can't understand what is going on there. So unless we never fell in love, you're gonna have no clue of what the heck just happened there. But it happened on two occasions, and yet LA Knight got one over on Dexter Lumis. We've seen Leon Ruff still waiting to see what is going to be Swerve's next move after Leon Ruff really delivered it to the Swerve backstage the previous week. We got to see an interview with the former NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai by the Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix, wondering what is going to be the former champion's next move. And she figures that this is the time for her to rest and relax, be away from the scene for a while. And then all of a sudden, the newest acquisition to NXT, which is, what's her name?
Frankie Monet.
Frankie Monet, yes. Frankie Monet says, don't sweat it. I'll take over from here. You just get your rest and relaxation, because once you come back, then maybe you and I will square off. And of course, Io Shirai wasn't happy with that, but she still deserves it after having to defend her championship for over 300 days. Breezango entertaining as always. My goodness, the way they came out as what do you call those English guards?
Oh, the Palace guards, I think.
The Palace guards. You know, they weren't staring at each other. They were just like staring in space until the GYVs, the Grizzled Young Veterans, came out and had a tag match with Breezango, and it was a very entertaining tag match until, of course, we got to see how freaking GYV operated, and all they needed was just an open window to take advantage, and yet they did, and they got one over on Breezango. Backstage interview as they're trying to find out what is the deal with the whole story between Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell, but the Way is not even going to have it. And then all of a sudden, Bronson Reed is letting the North American champion Johnny Gargano know, it's like, hey, I'm going to get to that title. And then all of a sudden, Austin Theory steps in and it's like, hey, before you get to him, you're going to have to step up to me. So what we're going to see next week is a singles match with Austin Theory and the Colossal One, Bronson Reed. And if Bronson defeats Austin Theory, there will be a future championship match with him and the North American champion, Johnny Gargano. We are going to step into the audio clip of this one. This one was one of my favorite matches, and I'm actually thrilled to see this one. The debut of Sarray taking on the high and rising up and comer Zoe Stark. It was an incredible match. Jade, I know you didn't get to see this, but oh my God, you missed out on something really incredible here. Take a look at this.
And now looking for a submission. Sarray tying up Zoe Stark. Center of the ring. Sarray having some fun here at NXT.
Sarray feeling at home inside the squeeze circle.
Look at the bridge. Zoe Stark tied up. Stark trying to crawl, trying to find a way to the bottom rope, and reaching that bottom rope quickly to break the hold. Beth, what separates Sarray from the legends that were just mentioned?
I think it's the very short time that she's learned the veteran instinct from standing with the biggest and the baddest of the Joshi grades. It sets her apart and standing up to competitors the size of Zoe Stark.
Stark now getting some momentum, charging in with a clothesline. Into the cover on Sarray. What an upset this would be, and a kick out at two. With a huge kick upside the face. Falls over the half-and-half suplex. Sarray may be out. Stark on her feet. Stark now flying in with a big knee. And Stark upset Sarray. It's Sarray's debut. Sarray just kicks.
So close. How on earth did she get that signature move from Zoe Stark? We've seen it before. That sliding knee straight to the jaw of Sarray. She is right for the pickings at this
Certainly
point.
is.
Zoe Stark knows it.
Stark to the top rope. Sarray hasn't moved. Stark. Oh, looking for that 450 crash and burn. Back to her feet. Sarray charges in. Roll through. Shoulders down. Into the cover. The count and a kick out again.
Whoa! Sarray!
Another kick. Sarray gets dropped. Stark now. Falls into the cover. Another hook of the leg. Another kick out.
Somehow, some
Another
way,
cover.
behind it.
And another kick out.
Yeah, Zoe Stark really getting frustrated. That spinning heel kick to the temple should have been enough to put Sarray away. Somehow, Sarray digging deep, not wanting to lose her debut here at NXT.
Sarray trying to block the suplex. Can feel it coming. Stark now holding on. Sarray goes up for the ride. Lands on her feet. Stark goes down. Sarray measuring Stark. Spinning heel kick under the jaw. Stark is rocked with a forearm. Stark could be out on her feet. Saray hoists up Stark and plants her. What a suplex! Into the cover goes Saray. Hook it away. Saray victorious.
Here is your winner, Saray.
What a matchup, what a performance from both ladies. But Saray, that is how you win an audience over here in NXT.
Sorry.
What a sign of respect between Stark and Saray. Welcome to NXT.
An incredible matchup that I got to see was Saray, the debut of Saray and Zoe Starks. How it happened was, earlier in the show, we got to see Saray already coming into the CWC, and the GM, William Regal, was there to greet her with open arms. And then all of a sudden, Zoe Starks was there too, just arriving a little bit afterwards, and just saying that how she was following Saray and her career, and she was wondering if she could be the one to have a match with her to, kind of give the proper greeting to her to arrive in NXT. And she accepted. And my God, a lot of incredible energy and moxie from Saray. I'm pretty sure that she will be a very quick uprising star in NXT in the women's division. I think it's going to make a huge difference as we get to see more of her in the weeks to come. Also, Kushida just became the Cruiserweight champion just last week, as the former undisputed Cruiserweight champion, Santos Escobar, laid out an open challenge, and Kushida bolt opened the door and went through it like nobody before. And Kushida gave one hell of a match to Santos Escobar, and he became the Cruiserweight champion. So he decided to return the favor to see who was going to step up to the plate and answer his open challenge. And it ended up being none other than the former NXT Tag Team Champion, Oney Lorcan. And both of these guys just gave an incredible performance. Kudos to both of them. But Kushida still standing tall as the Cruiserweight champion yet again. We got to see backstage segments with Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. As far as Mercedes Martinez was concerned, she still wants a piece of the new champion and the NXT Women's Championship. I can't wait to see two Latinas get it on, because that has never been seen before in WWE programming. Never before. So I think this is going to be one hell of a match if they do book it. Raquel Gonzalez, Mercedes Martinez for the NXT Women's Championship. Make that happen, WWE and NXT. I want to see it. It's going to be a kick-ass session. That I can feel it in my bones and in my heart. It's going to be one hell of a contest between them two women. Another backstage segment we got to see was pretty much Indy Hartwell, Candice LeRae. They were walking in the back, and all of a sudden, Indy Hartwell just ran into Dexter Lumis from one of the doors on the part of the back. I really can't describe much, but I can only envision it in my mind because I've seen it about 2 times. And then all of a sudden, when Indy Hartwell was distracted and didn't follow Candice LeRae, then all of a sudden Candice ran into the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. And they were talking, and all of a sudden it led to the point where, of course, we need to get Indy Hartwell's opinion. And when they asked for her opinion and Candice turned around, there was no Indy Hartwell in sight. And that led to Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon beat the hell out of Candice LeRae, and they dragged her into a room. And afterwards, it did not look good for the Way at all. We also got to see Imperium take on Everrise, Imperium, as we all know, dominant yet again. And finally, the main event was Kyle O'Reilly and Cameron Grimes. These two men put one heck of a performance. Most of the entire match was dominated by Kyle O'Reilly, and we got to see his win over the rich billionaire who's got no love for one Ted DiBiase. And what happens with NXT this upcoming Tuesday on the USA Network, we will see Mercedes Martinez go against Dakota Kai one-on-one. We will see a 6-man tag with Legado del Fantasma members, Santos Escobar. Remind me of who the other 2 members are.
Of who?
Of Legado del Fantasma.
Oh, Joaquin Wild.
Joaquin Wild
and
Raul Mendoza, yes. They take on Kushida, the Cruiserweight Champion, and members of MSK, and you know who they are, of course.
Yes. They are now the reigning and defending NXT Tag Team Champions.
Of course, so champions versus Legado del Fantasma. That will take place this Tuesday on NXT. And also, of course, I mentioned the Colossal of the Colossus, Bronson Reed going up against a member of The Way. That would be Austin Theory. And if the Colossal one defeats Austin Theory, he will have a future shot at Johnny Gargano and the NXT North American Championship. Moving on to AEW Dynamite. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed because I'm not. It went from a superb show, how it was the numerous 4 or 5 weeks ago, to a decent show somewhat. Nonetheless, AEW gave one hell of a show this past Wednesday on TNT. That is not definitely going on to dispute, but we are going to jump right on it. And what we witnessed this past Wednesday, we got to see, of course, the Pinnacle. Oh, I'm sorry, the Pinnacle. They got to rebuttal the Immortal promo that Chris Jericho delivered the previous week. And the Inner Circle rebuttal to what the Pinnacle had to say earlier in that night. So pretty much promo after promo after promo. Pretty much just talking about what's going to be expected when Blood and Guts comes to town on Cinco de Mayo. And on that day, I will probably have some more tacos and a Corona beer in my hand when that takes place. Also, what took place, Pentagon Jr. had a match. Do you recall who he had that match with?
Yeah, it was against Trent.
Oh, yeah, Trent Beretta of the BFFs. The Best Friends Forever. That's what I like to call them, the Best Friends Forever. They had a really good, decent match. It could have been a little bit better. I know Pentagon loves to fly and loves to take risks all the way because that man is all about el cero miedo. And it was a really, really, really good match nonetheless. Other things that took place, Christian Cage, we know that he's putting over Powerhouse Hobbs because the man is just so ripped, so muscular. One of the key components of Team Taz for sure. They had a really good match, but hey, Powerhouse Hobbs just had to come over, just had to get over for him to be a future superstar. We got to see a little bit of the factory held by QT Poo Marshall, or Marshall, whatever. Taking on members of the Nightmare family. And what happened at the very end is that we saw the return of Dustin Rhodes. He was sticking it to the factory, but when he laid out the wooden chair on Nick Camarado, my goodness, he could withstand anything. Berserker Jr. can withstand anything. That is for sure. To start out the show, we got to see a real athletic treat. And I'm talking about Hangman Adam Page going up against Team Taz's member, Absolute Ricky Starks. It was an incredible match. Both of these men put on one hell of a show, and unfortunately, we got to see some weakness from Absolute Ricky Starks that led to maybe a hurt ankle. I think either his shoulder or his back was also in pain, but Hangman Adam Page took notice to that, and he let the man have it until he won the match by submission. So kudos to both men for putting on one heck of a show. And yet again, AEW knows how to book matches to start out the show, and yet again, they're still doing it with flying colors. Kudos to them. Great match, Hangman Adam Page and Absolute Ricky Starks to end the night. They had a TNT championship. The All Elite Wrestling Turner Network Television Championship was on the line as its current champion faced off against one of the up-and-coming rising stars who I have respect for, not just because his father was a former actor. May God rest his soul. We got to see Jungle Boy taking on Darby Allin for that championship. And I think it was an incredible, I think it was a very formidable main event. It really was. You know, it was going back and forth, and it really could have gone either way. But at the very end, it just got crazy with the involvement of Luchasaurus and the Icon Sting, who I always love to see on cameras. And then that just brought out the involvement, I guess, of different parties and such. And it ended on high note. Darby Allin is still the TNT champion. But what I believe stole the show this past Wednesday, and it was another treat for me to watch, and I don't know how Jade feels about this, was the AEW Women's World Championship match with Ty Conti, taking on Hikaru Shida, and we are going to get into the audio reception of that match. Jade, to me, that match stole the show. That should have been the main event, in my opinion.
I gotta admit that the title defense between Hikaru Shida and Ty Conti, pretty much, it was a great match. Of course, we hear the highlights of the match.
I mean, both of these women just poured their heart and souls into this match. I really felt it here. I mean, I wanted Ty Conti to win, but I also asked, does Hikaru Shida have it in her to really, really hold on to that championship?
And the champion duel was coming. When she felt the hammerlock, she knew it. Shida, if she can get the DDT on, we're going to see a new champion. Oh, the jumping knee strike. Right on the jaw. Conti knocked back down. Shida's got her up the Falcon Arrow. The champion is going to retain 1, 2, no. Never count Ty Conti out. She was able to regroup enough to kick out before the 3 count. And that's all you got to do. It doesn't have to be pretty. Shida was looking for that Tamashi. She sure was. She was going off the ropes for that knee strike. You're right, Excalibur. But Hikaru Shida with Ty Conti. Up position in the corner, going after that spine once again. Oh, what a battle. Conti teeing off. But Hikaru Shida, a headbutt right between the eyes. And then makes your eyes water. You vision becomes obviously blurred at that point. You lose your equilibrium. It's not a good situation to be in. Oh, Hikaru Shida has Ty Conti. Oh! The spine across the turnbuckle.
That one got me worried for Ty Conti, the way that she landed on the turnbuckles from the top, midsection wise, on her back, and the way she dropped all the way out of the ring. Yeah, Ty Conti is still showing signs of life. Which is incredible.
Shida looking for the katana. Ty Conti rolled her through. Pop kick to the side of the jaw. Conti, momentum's changing. Looking for the Ty KO. She hit it. She got the champ. 2.
That could have been That could have been it for Hikaru Shida. We could have seen a new women's champion. But what's good right here is that she tried to act fast. But look at Hikaru Shida go here. That was it right there. Oh, still.
It's miraculous. Conte wasn't pinned right there. That was a great counter to that pin by Shida. Ty Conti, though, in a lot of trouble. Just as I say that, she returns. Elbow strike. She's ambidextrous. She whipped her ass into the right arm of the left. The kick caught. Oh,
that was a hard ass
there by the champion. Hikaru Shida's got Ty Conti up on the shoulders. Into the backbreaker. An authoritative backbreaker. And the backbreaker followed up by the katana right on the mark. 1, 2, 3.
And Nisha did it.
Great matchup, guys. Great matchup. The winner of this match. And still AEW Women's World Champion, Hikaru Shida.
The knee right between the eyes of Ty Conti allows Hikaru Shida to retain the AEW Women's World Championship in an extremely hard-fought battle, JR. Absolutely. Very physical, very intense. And this is not going to be the last time that Ty Conti is going to compete for a title. I can promise you. What is this? Dr. Britt Baker.
I totally forgot about this thing.
The wrestling dentist. The number 2 ranked Dr. Britt Baker.
Who I believe still needs a dental assistant. When the hell is that going to happen?
That's her goal. She has said that this ranking system AEW. Uh-oh. Well, that was quick. Britt Baker getting a little assistance from the graphics department. And we could see.
Yeah, look at the DMD run.
We're going to be seeing the next challenger to Hikaru Shida's AEW Women's World Championship.
So, yeah, pretty much Dr. Britt Baker came out to remind the world. Excuse me. To remind the world that she's already up in the rankings and she could be a future challenger to Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's World Championship. We get the picture. But you still need a damn freaking dental assistant, damn it. I think Rita's not Reba, Rebel, not cutting it. Oh, here's something interesting. Do you know that Reba, Rebel, she used to be a makeup artist for the cast that supposedly was going to bring the Mortal Kombat HD game to life. The reboot that really never took place. All we saw was just, parts and things. I think I showed you some clips of it, but got canceled at the very end of it. But it was, I seen the pictures on Instagram, and Reba Rebel, she used to be the makeup artist for that project, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, wow, that's a coincidence. But yeah, once again, congratulations to both Hikaru Shida, Ty Conti, an incredible women's world championship match. My opinion, that should have been the main event.
I want to point out by saying that of all that this match, well, first of all, I just want to say that this should be one of the highlights for AEW in this year, 2001. Pretty much, the Ty Conti pretty much was yearning for a shot at the AEW Women's title, and she gave it to Roshi Roll, but unfortunately, it was overall. Now, as far as as far as Dr. Britt Baker DMD is concerned, her going after, I mean, she's been saying for the last couple of months that she wants a shot at the AEW Women's title. But I want to point out that for those at AEW, there's a time and a place for a match, because pretty much that is sort of a dream match between Hikaru Shida and Britt Baker. But let's not jump the gun too soon. I mean, I understand that you got a pay-per-view in about a month, and as much as I hate to say, you want to book that match on that event, the answer is no. Do not book it in any shape or form at Double or Nothing. Wait until, let me see, what's a more appropriate day? How about the summer, August or September, whichever. Which that's more, because there's more buildup. Because I mean, yes, Britt Baker is still reveling in And that lights out match that she had with Thunder Rosa, and pretty much she should be. But quite frankly, this should be. My guess is this should be the push for her to be as on the top, climbing the ladder on the AEW Women's roster. For me, it's a little too soon for her to challenge Hikaru Shida. Right now, she should be more focused on building her stock. She should just defeat any comers in any which way, so that way, once the time is ready, she can go for Hikaru Shida and the women's title, but not like in about a month. Like wait a couple of months. It has to feel right. For me, it has to feel right. And that way, once Britt Baker can challenge Hikaru Shida for the AEW women's title, but for now, not too soon, but it has to be properly built. So I say, Mr. Tony Khan, for those of you AEW, not next month. A couple of months would suffice for me. Well,
take that into consideration, AEW, with Jade's feelings and opinions. And yeah, I believe you're right, because if it doesn't feel right and it's getting into it way ahead of time, then it could end up being a flop. It could end up being just something where it should have been a decent to massive buildup, and it would make sense at the very end of all of it.
Right.
So yeah, you are positively right on that. So normally we would do Impact next, but since Rebellion is tomorrow night, we're going to move on to SmackDown. I leave everything Impact Wrestling and Rebellion at the very end. So SmackDown last night, another decent episode, of course, and it started out with Cesaro coming out and obviously challenging the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. And all of a sudden, Jey Uso got involved. Well, before that, Seth Rollins got involved. Cesaro cut a very decent promo. Seth Rollins cut out a very, very good promo, saying that the reason why Cesaro got the win and got his WrestleMania moment is because of the rain delay that took place Saturday night at WrestleMania several weeks ago. But nonetheless, all of this was a build-up to where at the very end, we were going to see if Roman Reigns was going to accept the challenge of Cesaro to get a shot at the Universal Championship. And then as the night went on, we finally got to see Tamina and Nia Jax one-on-one. It had its positives and it's had its negatives. I'm going to address the positive. The positive is we got to see one heck of a match. The negative was it took this freaking long to do it. Because WWE barely has a clue, at least for the SmackDown side, on how to do it. They had to wait this long when I felt that these two women, obviously, representing their heritage, and I wanted to see who was the stronger out of the two. I really did. So we got to see a little bit of that thunder, but it could have been more to a build-up. But all of this was capitalized because Tamina finally got some fan recognition at WrestleMania with the tag match that took place with the champions and Tamina and Natalya. So all of this was a follow-up. But nonetheless, surprisingly enough, Tamina got one over on Nia Jax. But still, it took this long for it to get done. This could have been capitalized years ago. And they're finally actually doing it now. So pluses, negatives, had mixed feelings about that match, but it finally got done. We've seen a backstage segment with Kevin Owens and Big E, and it was a really good one because, it was all about who was going to get the shot next at the Intercontinental Championship after Big E should have been promised a rematch, and he is going to get his rematch, and I just remembered, and yeah, like I have it here written down, Apollo Crews will give the rematch to Big E for the Intercontinental Championship next week on SmackDown when it comes to you on Fox. But still, the promo that they had was just very good. And Kevin Owens was going to get his shot at Apollo Crews, but let's not miscount the new guy, Commander Aziz, on his corner. Also, what took place last night, we got to see a tag team match, a really good one, with Daniel Bryan and Cesaro going up against Jey Uso and Seth Rollins. Of course, that was the build-up from earlier in the night, the top of the show. My God, these four men just gave it their all in this one. They really did. It was a really good match. Of course, we got to see Apollo Crews and Kevin Owens for the Intercontinental title. We got to see Sami Zayn come in and just waiting to see what the heck was going to go down. But of course, like I mentioned, Commander Aziz stuck his nose in and laid down his finisher on Kevin Owens. And yeah, there went his championship shot. And what I found kind of funny was that there was a 2 to 3 minute segment on Sami Zayn actually dancing all over Kevin Owens. I'm like, dude, you couldn't have put the egg on the strip pretty much, just seeing this guy rub it in all over Kevin Owens' face like that. And now we finally wonder what the heck is going on with Aleister Black. It turns out he is coming back. He's getting repackaged. But now he's a storyteller, at least to begin with. Because he talked about the book. Do you remember what was the name of the book? The book of the Dark Father, something like that. Something, but nonetheless, you've seen the promo.
Yes.
I seen the promo. They talked about Chapter 1, the Dragon, and it was not a bad deal. I feel that this second repackaging of Aleister Black is going to be a very successful one if they keep the intriguing part intact. I don't know how you feel about it, but I believe that this one is going to be a successful one, just like how his first run with his character was successful, even though around the time when he was on Raw and SmackDown, it got kind of wasted. And then with the whole timing of his wife having to come up to terms with WWE and for her to be done because of the whole platform deal on the outside, I think we're going to see Aleister Black on a very good second run with this type of gimmick here.
But well, this is my take on pretty much on how you repackage stars to become heels and for them to appeal as such. The issue is not so much as that they're repackaged, is that there has to be a certain performance, a certain mystique, if you will, of how they project themselves to the audience. Pretty much, and like I mentioned before, the problem is not so much the fact that they do it poorly. It's the fact that they don't have no people to rely on. They pretty much say, okay, like, this is the way you want to go. I mean, the creative direction of the company is pretty much saying this is the way you want to go, but they're not giving them sufficient pointers on how to do the role. It's not to say that they have to perfect the role on the first try. It's all a process and all that stuff. I mean, it's gonna be to say. I mean, not to say it is difficult for Brian. Right now it's a good thing. But once it's go time, once he's already out in front of the WWE Universe in the Thunderdome, and then they're gonna say it. What you see in the promos or what you see in the ring is clearly different when it should be exactly, or it should be resembling at that, because that's the one thing that we want to see. We want to see heels that live up to the hype. They had to deliver in any way, shape, or form. But there also comes a point where it's like, okay, if they're delivering, but it's not to the expectations of the management, that also can be a problem, because it's not to say, okay, I'm not blaming the performer. I'm blaming the management, because they say, okay, they're bullying up, but then they say it's not what we want. When they should be letting the fans decide. It's fan feedback, what you care about. If the fans say, okay, it's a good thing, we're gonna go with it. You cannot just say, oh yeah, you can't just balk right on the first day and say, oh, it's gonna be bad right at the get go. Let's kill it. No. It's not right to say, okay, you create a concept or you package someone to be a heel and just say, the heck with it. It's gonna be a buzz. Kill it. No. It's very important that you let the fans decide to say like oh, he's a certain madness, he's a certain like oh, he's very weird, he's very or he's demonic or whatever. That's sort of that like the way how you respond to a heel is like they say that's like it's working. Like that's the most important thing. That feedback is necessary. So pretty much to wrap it up, I have to say, please do not balk until you come to a certain sense that the concept is working.
How do you think management or creative got the capitalization, or at least they believe on with the whole thing with Tamina and Nia Jax, because of the fans' reaction to Tamina with what took place at WrestleMania on Sunday, several weeks ago. So they're finally gonna go with the flow with how the fans react to that one. So, which they should have let it happen, but no, of course, management has to have the final say on how this whole thing flows. Moving on, we've seen a backstage promo with Apollo Crews being interviewed, and then all of a sudden, yet again, Big E strikes again, and he gives them the beatdown of his life. And he didn't have Commander Aziz by his side. He was taking care of something in their locker room or in their dressing room while all of that commotion was going down. Another thing too that took place, we got to see a really good tag match with the Mysterios, Rey and Dominic, taking on the Alpha Academy, Otis and Chad Gable, to see who would be the next contenders for the SmackDown Tag Team Champions in the form of Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. After one of the greatest pulls that Rey Mysterio had the previous week with getting that crucifix pin, with having to balance out Otis's, shoulder muscles and all of that. I mean, had him precisely on point and got the win. And the Mysterios, they worked together, stood tall, and they got one over on Alpha Academy. We got to see one of the weirdest promos, or one of the weirdest interviews that took place backstage as far as the tag team champions was concerned. At least the segue of the whole thing. It started out with the tag team champions. Then the Street Profits came in. And then all of a sudden, Bayley came in, started talking about wanting to get a shot at Bianca Belair, how she was trash talking the SmackDown Women's Champion. Then that got cut for commercials. Then they came back to commercials. They still had Bayley running her mouth. And then all of a sudden, Bianca Belair's husband, which is Montez Ford, wasn't that far away. And he was talking to his wife, who was on her way, saying, Bayley was just trash talking about you. Like, what? Oh, I'm on my way. And then Bianca Belair was there to actually wanted to hear what Bayley had to say when she wasn't there. But of course, very respectfully, Bayley was being two-faced, of course, and said, I would like to have a match with you for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Walked away. Then she came back, started laughing ridiculously and in a weird way, and then having to walk out. I don't know what the heck that was, but I think Bayley's having some screws loose right there. And then it led to what I believe is one of the most gripping segments to end the show. What is the decision that the champion is gonna state? Is he gonna give a shot to Cesaro? Yes or no? We are gonna get into that audio grip in just a bit. I believe, Jay, that this segment here is one of the most talked about segments, one of the most seen segments already on YouTube, after having to witness it this just last night as something really gripping, at least in my opinion.
We're all waiting to hear your answer.
So Cesaro, Daniel Bryan already in the ring. They're waiting for Roman Reigns to come out to see what is he going to say. Is he going to give the shot to Cesaro, or what is going to happen?
So you can either come out here and give us your answer, or we girls will just, come back there and get an answer.
You gonna challenge me? Who are you? What you think you done to be in the ring with me? You don't deserve it. You hadn't earned it. I'm a tribal chief around here. The head of the table. Just know it'll always be no. Because you will never be on my level. The Universal Champ issues the challenges around here. The challenge. The challenge goes to you. I don't like you. I've never liked you. I will never like you. We'll give you one more opportunity. You get one more shot at this. Take a good look. It's as close as you will ever get next week on SmackDown. You get one more title opportunity.
You have to take it. You have to take it.
Daniel Bryan was saying no, but Cesaro was saying you got to take the shot. It's right there for you to take it. Go for it.
If, when you lose, I don't ever want to see you again. I want you to disappear. I want you to vanish. I don't ever want to see your face on my show again. I don't ever want to see you float around SmackDown ever again. Do you understand me?
I accept. When you consider the stakes, next week on Friday Night SmackDown on Fox, it may be the biggest main event in SmackDown history.
Jade, it is set for next week. This is going to be the biggest match for SmackDown. It is a high stakes match. We will witness Roman Reigns putting his Universal Championship on the line against Daniel Bryan. If Daniel Bryan fails to defeat Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, Daniel Bryan is done on SmackDown. We don't know if he's going to be done for sure with SmackDown, with WWE as a whole. Is he going to go somewhere else with the brands, either to Raw or I don't know, maybe NXT, or if this is it for him in WWE, but it's already laid out. It's already on the card. It's going to happen this Friday night coming up on Fox.
Well, after his inability to win the triple threat match at WrestleMania, now pretty much he has another shot at getting the Universal title from the head of the table. But pretty much that's all laid out. It's two things on the line: the Universal title and a career. Well, let's say hypothetically it is a career. But the bottom line is that Daniel Bryan has one last chance to become the Universal Champion. If he is unable to defeat Roman Reigns and become the Universal Champion, his run on SmackDown, without a shadow of a doubt, well, let's say for now it says run on SmackDown, or it could be his entire WWE career is completely over. And pretty much we know that Daniel Bryan did not have as much win. Yeah, he had some tag team wins, he had some Intercontinental wins, and United States title wins. He only been world champion one time in WWE career, and this is his one chance to once again be at the top of the ladder. But if he only has this one chance. If it fails, it could be over. But God knows what's gonna happen this Friday night.
And yeah, this is one SmackDown that you should not miss. If you're only gonna, how they stated before, if you're only gonna watch one episode of SmackDown this time of year, it should be this one coming up Friday night, this next Friday night on SmackDown on Fox. Besides that match, we will also see Apollo Crews take on Big E for the Intercontinental Championship. Big E gets his rematch. Can he be successful and defeat this Nigerian warrior that is already on the rise on the SmackDown roster? And that is it for SmackDown. Now we are going to focus entirely on Impact Wrestling and their pay-per-view coming up tomorrow night, which is Rebellion. One thing that I forgot to point it out from AEW Dynamite, we saw an angle featuring the Elite and, of course, the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega, where, of course, they were doing a interview in their trailer. And in the background, we were hearing a lot of honking from a vehicle, car, truck, or whatever. I think they might have honked the car, might have honked at the trailer for about maybe 1,000 times or whatever. And then at the very end, it was none other than Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston in that truck. And they ran over the beginning part of the Elite trailer, maybe only just one time, got out. Talked their trash on camera, and then that was it. My opinion, they could have done a little bit better. I mean, it was cool to see Moxley and Eddie Kingston, get a little revenge, but I think that it could have been done way better. They could have done a little bit more damage to the trailer and stuff like that. We didn't even get to see members of the Elite actually get out there. And, of course, AEW World Champion was there. Don Callis was there, the Young Bucks was there, the Good Brothers were there, but we never got to see their exit. It was just like, if it was like a cut and paste type of deal where, like, yeah, it was done at night. It probably was, taped before showing it live or something like that. But, that angle could have been done a little bit better. And then, of course, it really isn't bringing out anything to where it can lead to tomorrow night with his match against Rich Swann, title versus title. Nonetheless, we're going to jump into Impact. They still been building up the main event. We didn't get to see Kenny Omega or anything like that. He wasn't there, but of course he did his video deal. Well, actually, no, he did lay out a final message via camera with Don Callis, and we're going to jump into that because that's the only thing that we're going to talk about and hear audio-wise while we run everything else that took place on Impact. And we will run the final card for tomorrow night and give our opinion of what could, of who could win those matches for Rebellion on pay-per-view. So let's get into the final message and opinions between the two champions. And of course, throughout the entire night, the entire Impact locker room was staking out their opinions, and they're pretty much a home crowd, so they're obviously cheering on for Rich Swann to take it all the way.
Press conference last week. Your boy, Kenny Omega, the man that's supposed to be the best bout machine, Mr. 7-Star. Put his hand out to me. I looked down at that hand, and I made a mistake. Because right as I went to shake his hand, that boy smacked my mouth. And before I could even really get my hands on that boy, the security done pulled us apart. But you know what, Kenny? I ain't trying to wait till Rebellion. You want to put your hands on me? You want to put your hands on me? Come out here and do it again. Come on, Kenny. Do it right now. Do it right now. Greetings, everybody. Look, it's the invisible hand of the greatest wrestler in the history of the world, Kenny, by God Omega. We're here with you. Unfortunately, we can't be in the building tonight. That's real unfortunate. Very sad for us. Oh boy, I wish I could be there. But don't worry, because when the inevitable happens at Rebellion and you win the Impact World Championship, well, we're not just going to go and show off to Tony Khan and all the AEW fans. We're going to grace Access TV and Impact Wrestling with your presence as the new Impact World Champion each and every week. We'll be here. We'll be signing on, well, we'll sign autographs, but we will be sticking it to people, and we will be reminding everyone about why you are a god of pro wrestling, Kenny Omega. What do you think about that?
Some people call me an egomaniac, Mr. Callis. You hear that? Some people think I have a right to that ego. And think, being a double champion, the AEW heavyweight champion, the AAA mega champion, you think would give me a right to have a little bit of an ego? Will allow me to stroke it just a little more. Stroke that nicely. That ego.
Nice kitty.
How bad is it going to be after I add another championship belt to that collection? How bad is it going to be when I'm a champion of 3 separate promotions, major promotions, mind you? This ain't no kitty stuff. 3 championships, 4 belts. I'm adding so much gold to the Coliseum.
Gonna need a new house, bigger house.
Gonna need yet another house. Possibly yet in another foreign country. I'm gonna need yet another Swiss bank account. And it's only gonna get bigger and better from here. You talk about history all the time, Mr. Callis. We always warn these people in advance that we're here to make history. Well, we already set the date. Set a reminder in your calendar. Set a reminder in your iPhone or mobile device.
Tie a string around your finger.
Because at the next pay-per-view, Rich Swan, consider that your last day as champion. But the first day, a very important day in wrestling history. It is yet another step in the career of Kenny Omega, the World Takeover. Perfect. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Goodbye. And good night. Bang. Oh, do that. That's
Gosh, it's like in the secret society, they have to tell you what they're going to do.
We haven't seen those in weeks.
Let's not forget the reason that the match between
And then all of a sudden we see Moose arrive. Moose hasn't been seen since the last pay-per-view where he took on Rich Swann, and it was title versus title as well. And that was it was the TNA Championship against the Impact Championship. And I'm pretty sure Moose came down to the ring to give Rich Swann some advice.
At Sacrifice.
Yeah, that was it at Sacrifice. And it was a great match between them two.
I
Incredible
showed
match.
you my hand, and as a true world champion, he took advantage of me. So congratulations. I'm actually here to give advice. See, at Rebellion, you're going to be going against a man who calls himself the god of professional wrestling. You should be well prepared for this match because you just faced the wrestling god, Moose. And only you can answer this question. Yeah, Kenny Omega pinned you, and you slipped one on me. But who really hurt you? Who showed you what pain really feels like? We both know the answer to that question. And we both know that I'm stronger than Kenny Omega. I'm bigger than Kenny Omega. I'm faster than Kenny Omega. And I'm more skilled than Kenny Omega. But Kenny does have something that I didn't have as sacrifice. It's three stooges who would do whatever he tells them to do. I'm sure you already know all these things I'm telling you. So Rich Swann and Rebellion, good luck. And the advice I was going to give you, you better not lose those titles to Kenny Omega, or you will be paying the ultimate consequences to me.
Tila.
Yo, Moose. Rebellion. I'm gonna win that AEW World Championship. Don't you worry. I'll definitely have no problem pinning your ass again.
Oh, wait. Listen, we've taken heavy fire in this company. We've even endured some casualties, but our flag still flies. And if one man is left that can draw his sword, if one man is left to die upon the hill, then it is our leader. Captain by captains, our fearful tributes.
My goodness. We're definitely going to be in for one heck of a main event coming up tomorrow night at Rebellion on pay-per-view in the U.S. and, of course, internationally on Fight TV. It is the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega going one-on-one with the Impact World Champion, well, the TNA Impact World Champion, Rich Swann, title versus title. Will Rich Swann be a fortunate man and gain another championship to his side, or we will finally see Kenny Omega become Mr. Belt Collector? He already has two championships, the AEW World Championship and the AAA Mega Championship, I think it's called.
I think it's what they mentioned was.
I don't know if it's their main championship or if that's like a secondary championship. We don't know, but Kenny Omega, I think he already has that title already for months. It's been months since he has been to Mexico and defended that championship, but he still has it in his possession. Can't wait for that match. Other things that have taken place, of course, we got to hear the last words from Tenille Dashwood and Deonna Purrazzo, as, of course, those two will get it on one-on-one with the Knockouts title on the line. We got to hear the Good Brothers put in their words towards the tag champions, Finn Juice and Finn Juice from Japan. Of course, they delivered their rebuttal to the Good Brothers. That's going to be another match on the card. The Good Brothers going up against Finn Juice for the Impact Wrestling Tag Team Championships. Also took place this past Thursday on Impact. We saw the match with Rohit Raju. Rohit Raju, I'm sorry. And Shira. Well, actually, Rohit Raju actually took on Jake Something, and Shira came out of the match and screwed Jake Something out of a win. So Rohit Raju won his match. Fire and Flavor, Kiera Hogan, and her partner
Tasha Steelz.
Yes. She came from NWA. They're the current Knockouts Tag Team Champions, and I'm pretty sure I've been wondering who is going to be Jordynne Grace's tag team partner, since unfortunately Jazz honors her word, and because of what happened recently, Jazz is officially retired. But she swore that she would come up with a partner that would fit for Jordynne Grace to go for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. And we got to see the debut of one Rachel Ellering, the daughter of the WWE Hall of Famer and manager of the Road Warriors, Paul Ellering, in the shape and form of Rachel Ellering. Yes, she will be the tag partner of Jordan Grace, and both of them will take on Fire and Flava for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships tomorrow night at the pay-per-view. Also, things are getting really, really intense between Sami Callihan and Trey Miguel now that we finally know that they will go one-on-one tomorrow night as well in a last man standing match. It's going to be really gruesome, but I know that Sami Callihan has been pushing Trey Miguel's buttons as of late just to see what type of individual Trey Miguel truly is. I can't wait to see how he's going to deliver all of that pent-up aggression to one Sami Callihan, who was a sick-ass son of a bitch, but obviously he's doing this with purpose just to see what kind of individual, what kind of passionate man Trey Miguel is in that ring. And that is what took place on Impact. So now we are going to run down the card for tomorrow night's pay-per-view. Rebellion, 7 p.m. Eastern on pay-per-view in the U.S. Internationally, it will be seen on Fight TV. We will see in 8-man tag action, we will see Violent by Design, the leader, Eric Young, Rhino. Fill me in on the other two members, please.
That would be Joe Dorian and Diener.
Joe Dorian and Diener. They will take on Chris Sabin, Eddie Edwards, Cowboy James Storm, and Willie Mack. I think that's going to be an incredible 8-man tag match. Violent by Design have been showing why they have been the dominant force that they have been in Impact Wrestling recently. It's going to be an incredible match. Also, we will see Brian Myers taking on his former tag team partner in the WWE, Matt Cardona. They're going to have a one-on-one match. Lately, they have been doing a lot of pick your poison matches in different flavors. I don't know if that's going to be a stipulation stated for their upcoming match for tomorrow night. We will get to see, but their one-on-one confrontation is obviously going to be unique, and it's going to be interesting to see where all of it goes. But now that we're running down the card, we got to state the prediction for the 8-man tag. Who do you think will win? VBD or Sabin, Edwards, Storm, and Mack?
Well, this is a tough thing, called because ever since he made his return to Impact, Eric Young has always been. We apologize for that, but nonetheless, to make it quick, Eric Young has been so hell-bent on taking over Impact Wrestling, and pretty much that's what his goal is, and that is why he formed Violent by Design. When he formed Joe Dorian, now Diener, and now Rhino added to his campaign. Pretty much, people are sick and tired of Eric Young's constant bullying, his constant torment. And so we pretty much see the Cowboy Jim Storm, Willie Mack, Eddie Edwards, and who else?
Eddie Edwards, Sabin.
Chris Sabin, yes. But they're pretty much sick and tired of Eric Young constantly running his mouth. And that's going to be a tough call. I mean, well, and I'm going to say right now, I mean, as much as I want to see Chris and Willie and the Cowboy and for that team to win, I'm pretty much, my instinct might say it could be Violent by Design walking out victorious.
I feel the same way. I feel that Violent by Design is going to dominate this match, one way, shape, form, or another. They're going to take this one all the way. They're going to find a sneaky way to get the win and proclaim the night in their match. Cardona versus Myers. Who do you think will win that match?
Well, since these two pretty much know each other like a book, because they were a tag team, and even though both of them had separately, I mean, I mean, pretty much between Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. I mean, these two can get it any way, shape, or form. But to see which one of these two, these two wrestlers or these former tag team members, like this could be a moment. And I'm gonna say as much as I want to see, part of me wants to see Matt Cardona win, but part of me is speculating that it could be Brian Myers walking out victorious.
You say Brian Myers?
Yes.
I say Matt Cardona because this is one that Matt Cardona really needs since he has arrived to Impact Wrestling. He's been telling Brian Myers time and time again, I'm not after you. I'm not trying to get us back together. This is about me and where I want to be at Impact Wrestling. I came over here to start a fresh start and to build myself up in Impact Wrestling. So he's going to prove it to him one way or another. I feel that Matt Cardona could win this match. As we move on the card, we will see a three-way dance for the Impact X Division Championship. The former champion TJP versus Josh Alexander versus the current champion Ace Austin.
This couldn't get any more like the singles like you. We pretty much had to pick straws, and pretty much Ace Austin has been the X Division champion for a matter of months now. And I would say nothing against Josh Alexander. Now that he's a solo player, now that his partner pretty much jumped ship, and pretty much, I mean, Josh Alexander can be a good wrestler, but I don't see him winning the belt anytime soon. But I'm gonna say right now, if there, I'm gonna say put this card, Ace Austin's days as champion could be numbered, and I might say tomorrow night TJP could be the new X Division champion.
Oh, okay, that's interesting because coincidentally, Ace Austin took the belt from TJP. And TJP, we know that he is an incredible phenomenon. We've seen him do his stuff when he was Suicide. Was he Manic or that was something else?
He was
Manic. When he went to WWE with the Cruiserweights. He's just an incredible talent. I love his work. I cheer for this guy. But I'm also impressed with what I've been seeing from Ace Austin. Josh Alexander, haven't seen much of him, but I got to get to see some of his classic matches. Nonetheless, this is going to be, obviously, they're going to go all over the place, in and out of the ring from these three guys. I expect some high-octane velocity from all three of these guys. It's going to be an incredible match. My pick will definitely be, I would love for TJP to get that belt back, to be honest. But I feel Ace Austin is going to keep that championship. Nonetheless, for this three-way dance for the X Division Championship. For the Impact Tag Team Championships, the Good Brothers, they will get their rematch against the team of Finn Juice Robinson, and David Finlay.
Well, it was kind of surprising to see Finn Juice come stateside and finally win some American tag team gold, since they've been standouts over in New Japan, and these two have been very cohesive for a number of years, and yes, both of them, I mean, both singles wise and now from a tag team level, and David and Juice, they pretty much come together, and yes, no one expected Juice and David to win, and pretty much is gonna. And it was a good thing, but frankly, I'm gonna say I don't want to be a downer, but I kind of feel their reign as Impact Tag Team Champions could be short-lived. I kind of smell the Good Brothers regaining the tag belts.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. I mean, we know the Good Brothers. We've seen their work since Japan, then coming to the WWE, and they have been one of the most dominant and greatest tag teams of all time, and them winning championships speak for themselves on how good the Big LG and the Machine Gun have been as a tag team, and they're still going strong as of today, still part of the elite with the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega. For their sake, they got to get the belts back, but I feel Finn Juice is going to keep those championships those two guys are on the rise. We've seen their work in New Japan Pro Wrestling. David Finlay, Juice Robinson, they're just a hot commodity when they're together. They're one of the best tag teams that we've seen in a long time coming. From New Japan Pro Wrestling, they're obviously representing really strong, and they're representing really swell as Impact Tag Team Champions. I say Ben Juice is going to keep those belts. The Knockouts Tag Team Championships, Fire and Flavor, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. They will defend against the newly formed team of Jordynne Grace and Rachel Ellering.
Well, it has been I guess a short while since Fire Flavor became the Knockouts Tag Team champions, and pretty much they hardly had competition until right now when we see Jordynne Grace and now her new tag team partner Rachel Ellering step up and finally get a shot at the tag titles. And as much as they say, I mean, this could be Jordynne Grace's chance to add another one to her collection of championships, so it's for Rachel Ellering to win her very first accolade on a woman's level. But I got a feeling Fire and Flavor are not going to lose those belts anytime soon. I say still Knockouts Tag Champions Fire Flavor.
All right. Well, I'm going to say that I'm just getting familiar with Fire and Flavor. Kiera Hogan, Tasha Steelz. Obviously, they're one of the greatest pairs to ever been formed in Impact Wrestling. We got to see them stepping up their they've been playing their game really nice. Got a lot of attitude. Got a lot of fire, literal fire, and the flavor to back up their talk and their action in the ring. They're obviously been displaying it for a good while now. I say they're gonna keep the championships, but then again, I hope to hell I'm wrong. I mean, I really would like to see Jordynne Grace and Rachel Ellering get the championships. I know they're just a fresh team. I know they just got paired together, but both of them they would be a powerhouse team. I mean, I can tell that these two women together are going to be a formidable crew that no pair of women tag team should even reckon with at all. And I mean at all, because this is going to be their first opportunity to get at the belts together. But something tells me Fire and Flavor, they're still going to keep the belts regardless. But I can't wait to see what's going to happen for tomorrow night. I hope to hell I'm wrong, but something tells me that Fire and Flavor are going to keep those championships. Moving on, the Knockouts Championship will be on the line. Tenille Dashwood gets her shot at the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo.
Well, these two know each other ever since Ring of Honor. I mean, that's how these two cross paths, and I don't know if they ever faced off one-on-one when of course neither one of them was the Ring of Honor, well, the Women of Honor champion as the division was referred to. But now that they're here on Impact Wrestling on a different platform, eager to redeem themselves, especially Tenille Dashwood, who some of you knew from the WWE days, and even I knew that Tenille was badly misused in WWE. But never. Well, of course, I'm gonna make a quick tidbit too. Deonna Purrazzo's stint in NXT was a good one, but of course she got lost in the creative shuffle, and even she too was replaced. But nevertheless, now going on to tomorrow and this knockout title match, I mean, it would be nice to see Tenille get the one thing that she's been wanting once, and that's to become a women's champion, the Knockouts champion. But I don't see the Virtuosa losing anytime soon, so I'm going to say she's going to retain the Knockouts title tomorrow.
Of course, when we talk about the backstories of Tenille Dashwood and Deonna Purrazzo, I'm very familiar with Deonna Purrazzo, the Virtuosa, since Ring of Honor. I barely remember that she had her stint in NXT, and of course it was a short one, but she was losing matches. I don't recall her winning matches, but that led her to come to Impact Wrestling to prove herself that she is worthy of being a champion. And I'm glad to see, even though I got to see it late, but that the Virtuosa is what she should be, and that's being a women's champion in the form of the Knockouts division. Now, Tennille Dashwood, this has been a woman who, yes, you stated she has been misused in WWE, but she know that she could, even I know that she could be valuable elsewhere, and she is, and landed on Impact Wrestling to get her shot at the Knockouts Championship. I would like to see her become a Knockouts champion someday. Could this be tomorrow night? We don't know for sure. I love those two women. I mean, they're hot respectively as, you know, the beautiful women that they are. But I believe this is going to be a major trip, seeing them two going at it one-on-one. It's going to be an incredible match, I believe. Deonna Purrazzo will still keep the championship. I would love to see Tennille Dashwood get that championship someday. But if it happens tomorrow, then so be it. But I still feel the Rituals is going to hang on to that championship for a little bit longer. And finally, the main event, the AEW World Championship and the TNA Impact Championships will be on the line. Kenny Omega representing AEW, Rich Swann representing Impact Wrestling, title versus title. One guy is going to be walking out with all the gold, Jade. Who is your pick?
This has been manifesting for months. I mean, we talk about the proverbial invisible hand that is Don Callis, and on the other side we talk about the proverbial forbidden door that is Tony Khan. It just clashed together, this whole thing, and of course to make a quick recap, ever since last December, it all just combusted to what is now leading to tomorrow night. Kenny Omega is now the AEW champion, and then for Rich Swann, so ever since last year's Bound for Glory, he finally made it to the top of the heap, to the top of the ladder at Impact, and now is defending those titles. And yes, he endured Moose ever since Sacrifice, and now it all comes down to this. Bottom line is that the entire landscape is watching intently in this match, and it would be nice to see Rich Swann emerge as the ultimate victor, but we cannot discount Kenny's start, because he is pretty much been through it all. He's the current AAA Mega champion. He's been a former New Japan champion. He's proven himself more and more, and even though not to underestimate or discount Rich Swann and all of his accomplishments, but if there's going to be one sole victor, the man who will take it all tomorrow night, it's going to be Kenny Omega.
The way that this main event has been building up already for weeks, months, what have you, we finally got to see Rich Swann being successful as a heavyweight, and I'm surprised because we got to finally seen him last as part of the WWE Cruiserweight division, and he became a champion there, and then just for being released, having to go to Impact, and he became a heavyweight champion within a short amount of time. And it's incredible, and we know how athletic Rich Swann truly is. He's busted his ass, and he has made it all the way this far, and now he's going to go for the biggest match of his career. Kenny Omega, he has had championships around the world. He has busted ass. He's a megastar in the business, has had 7, 8, 9, you want to call it 10-star matchups, and they were incredible for his time. But can he get back into the level again? We believe so, because even though he kind of toned it down, he can bring it back up a notch if he wanted to. That is his own shot. I really would love for Rich Swann to take all the gold, but we got to see Mr. Belt Collector Kenny Omega come to rise, as he will take all of the gold, because all of this is happening for a reason. That's for Kenny Omega to be known as this international wrestling megastar and champion, and holding all the gold just to show the world Kenny Omega being the athlete of this generation, honing his craft, professional wrestling, and bringing it to the level where it is at today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just hear one more audio clip, and that will be the video package leading up to tomorrow night. Kenny Omega, Rich Swann, the titles are on the line. History will be made tomorrow night.
Signed, sealed, and delivered. We got her done. Looks like the news can't wait any longer. Time to go let the world know now.
It's done. Just like
these stakes at Sacrifice are huge. Because whichever one of you walks out as the unified Impact World Champion is going to be in the main event at Rebellion. And that unified Impact World Champion will step in the ring one-on-one, live on pay-per-view, with the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega, title versus title.
There will only be one champion, one man, immortalized. Shift of the momentum. Fall away, moonsault, quad out of the way. Crucifix, shoulders down, roll through a step. Two. His final's been made. He's done it. He's done it. Rick Swan is the new unified world champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are about to witness is greatness. And the greatest professional wrestler in the history of the industry. Scott, Hackenschmidt, Flair, Hogan are all insects in the shadow of the giant of professional wrestling, the god of pro wrestling, Kenny, my God Omega.
Every single time we stepped into that ring, I got the better of you. I was the better man. Trial by fire. I'm out. I'm going to take my legs in order to get the upper hand of the Swan.
You know I'm going to outwork Kenny Omega. Sure as the hell aren't going to outperform.
No company is losing a world champion. There will be one individual at the end of the night at Rebellion who will be the Impact World Champion and the AEW World Champion.
Somebody's leaving with two belts.
I don't want to see the Impact title on it. You better beat Kenny Omega.
Rich, this is a big opportunity for you. I think you're great. I would love to have you in AEW. I think you'd be a great champion.
Kenny Omega, once again, will make history. Call yourself the best belt. You call yourself the 7-star athlete. Well, Kenny Omega, I'm here to tell you right now that I am better than you. Kenny, at Rebellion, I'm going to prove it to you.
He's always been looking that magical moment here at AEW.
We'll have a winner, I can promise you.
Bring the pain out.
A battle between two champions. A war between two competing worlds.
These men are both amazingly gifted. Their track record speaks for themselves. On any given night, they can beat anybody.
Impact World Champion Rick Swan, the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega, title versus title. Rebellion on this Sunday on pay-per-view.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It is set. Tomorrow night is Rebellion. It will be live on pay-per-view in the U.S. Of course, international will be seen on Fire TV. And, of course, we want to point out, to summarize for this main event, yes, Rich Swann has been getting the best lately of Kenny Omega. Can that happen again tomorrow night? Or we will see Kenny Omega getting the upper hand on Rich Swann finally and showing, of course, with all that ego and all that, arrogance that Kenny Omega has been displaying lately, will he have the upper hand to finally take all of that gold in? I suggest you watch Rebellion tomorrow night. And here with the Wrestling Weekend Recap team, we will do a live reaction tomorrow night to Rebellion. Feel free to join us. We are going to give you everything based on a reaction on what we see for that pay-per-view tomorrow night. I believe it's going to be epic of massive proportions. That main event, we will witness who is going to walk out with all of the gold. Will we see the change of the guard as far as the AEW title is concerned? Or will we see the Impact Championship move to the camp of Kenny Omega as he's already holding the AAA Championship and the AEW World Championship? Rebellion Weekend is about to begin tomorrow night. And that is it for our part. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope to see you tomorrow night as we call the live reaction towards Rebellion for tomorrow night. For the one and only Jade, I am Aceman. Thank you very much for watching the Wrestling Weekend Recap. Hopefully you join us next Saturday night for some more as we give you the good, the bad, and the latest inside news of what happens with Monday Night Raw, NXT, AEW Dynamite, Impact Wrestling, and Friday Night SmackDown. And we want to thank everybody who has been supporting us already, 2,700 subscribers. Thank you so much. This wouldn't be possible without each and every one of you supporting us. Thank you very much again. And until then, stay safe, mask up, peace and love worldwide. Have a good weekend, everyone. We hopefully see you tomorrow when you join us for the live recap of Impact Wrestling's Rebellion pay-per-view. Have a good night, everyone.